Hey, what's up guys? Kevin Cage here with another crypto update. Let's kick it off. Alright, hope everyone's doing well. We're going to start things off on the Bitcoin price chart on the daily time frame. Thus far in this bear market, the last time Bitcoin was over $35,000 was May 8th of 2022. And since then, it's been over 480 days, coming up to 500. And the million-dollar question is, where will Bitcoin go next, up or down? We have some open liquidity and imbalances down below that it could sweep to at the lower 20Ks. And simultaneously, on the weekly Bitcoin price chart, we have open fair value gaps or sell-side imbalances right around 35K, and the highest one is up to 60,000. And not financial advice, I personally believe that Bitcoin does create a new all-time high price in the future. That is just my opinion. And just understand, we have the open CME gap right at 35K. We have the 382 Fibonacci retracement at 35K. Along with a massive open fair value gap between 34,600 all the way up to 37K. And right in the middle of this massive weekly fair value gap, it's 35 to 36K. And in terms of lower levels, as we shared a few months ago, we can see an open gap in liquidity on the Bittrex price chart right here. This is a fat gap on the daily. Here's the weekly time frame, an open weekly gap on the Bittrex chart for Bitcoin and Tether. So the argument for a dump is we have open CME gaps right around 20K and a weekly Bittrex gap between 22 to 23.8. And for the bullish case, I just showed you a variety of confluences sitting around 35,000. We also have higher levels as well. During a Bitcoin retracement, as we get closer to the halving, Bitcoin will typically retrace to the 50% retracement, which is at 42,000, as well as the weekly R1, currently at 39K. For the bearish case, I'm keeping some cash on the side just in case, because anything is possible in crypto, and if Bitcoin does sweep these lows to close these gaps in liquidity, that would bring an amazing opportunity to accumulate some alts at discounted prices. And for the bullish case, which is what I want to get this show on the road. I want Bitcoin to recover along with the alt market. And looking at the Bitcoin monthly price chart, RSI is still relatively low. We're below the 50 line, currently at 48. Comparing previous bear market structures and just looking at its RSI and momentum, it looks super similar. When the bull run comes, RSI and momentum absolutely explodes into overbought. Each and every time, as you can see, the RSI going into overbought with beautiful gains for the crypto asset class. So we've seen this in 2013, we've seen this in 2017, and we also saw it recently last cycle in 2021. In just my personal opinion, I believe it's just a matter of time for Bitcoin to do that again. Next up for HBAR, we officially have Hedera's mainnet surpassing 20 billion transactions. And taking a look at the growth of Hedera's mainnet in 2023 alone, starting off in January, we had 790 million transactions. In February and March, we officially surpassed 1 billion, March topping out at 1.58 billion. With the past 2 months of July and August even higher, both over 3.3 billion transactions in a single month. So it's a big deal for Hedera's mainnet, and they are truly on the road to 1 trillion mainnet transactions. It seems like we're consistently getting 3 billion transactions per month. And I expect a lot of growth in the future to surpass 5 billion in a month, 10 plus billion in a month, and maybe more. If you follow me on Twitter, I also tweeted out the links for the metrics using Dragonglass, Hedera transactions, and looking at HBAR's fees, which are predictable. And you can learn more at hedera.com/fees. And Hedera put this out, so it seems like they're ramping up transactions, ramping up utility for HBAR. It took over 1,700 days, almost 2,000 days to get the first 10 billion transactions. And now they're saying only 100 days for the next 10 billion. This is how enterprise adoption works. It starts incredibly slow. The sales cycle is slow. The building of it is very slow. It's always vetted, it's checked, it's audited. But the most exciting thing about enterprise and government adoption is once it gets going and starts scaling up, the growth is exponential. Next up for XRP shared by Anders, have you noticed the moves of Ripple the company after XRP was declared a non-security by US courts? We had Ripple the company joining the central bank of all central banks, the BIS Task Force for Cross-Border Payments. As part of the Cross-Border Payments Interoperability and Extension Task Force, Ripple will work with other organizations including MasterCard and SWIFT. We had Ripple join the top global derivatives trade body, the ISDA, the International Swaps and Derivatives Association, with over 1,000 member institutions from 79 countries. Some of these institutions include organizations like BlackRock with $10 trillion plus AUM. As Patrick David recently pointed out, that BlackRock's AUM of 10 trillion is larger than almost every single country's GDP besides the US and China. And here's a great article by Ripple's Asia Managing Director Brooks Entwistle. And regarding RippleNet, up to 80% of its $15 billion cash flows or global flows are sent and received somewhere else, not the US, with more than half of volumes in the Asian Pacific region. We can see discussing XRP and also discussing ODL or on-demand liquidity, which uses XRP as a bridge asset, and their ODL solution now has more than 70 banks and other FIs that use it for various currency pair corridors. And Brooks Entwistle, a managing director for Ripple, he has a super impressive resume. If you take a look at his LinkedIn, he was also Uber's head of international business before joining. They also discuss custody, referring to Medico, their acquisition, a Swiss-based provider of crypto custody for institutions, including the likes of Citi, one of the big three banks, and BNP Paribas. And what's fascinating about this is Ripple, the company, believes that cryptocurrency custody will be a $10 trillion business opportunity by 2030. So we can see not even really comparing themselves with the likes of Swift, which is just archaic dinosaur technology. And that was an analogy used years ago, but things have developed so much. The roots are in payments, but now liquidity solutions, think the liquidity hub, custody with Medico, and tokenization. Shared by Roth Economan, we have a resume of the University of Waterloo touting recent central bank digital currency research based on the XRP ledger. And we have Anders sharing this cross-border payments interoperability and extension task force that we discussed of the BIS naming Ripple. And this doesn't just happen for no reason for the company Ripple. There are others included focused on DLT, but only one with a public jurisdictionless digital asset. And we have banks getting involved with crypto custody solutions, Citibank, one of the biggest, BNP Paribas, and also a South Korean banking giant. This is Hana Financial Group. They've announced a partnership with the crypto custodian BitGo. BitGo is absolutely massive. They support XRP, Casper, HBAR, etc. They built, in 2017, I believe, enterprise-grade wallets for XRP specifically. And speaking of SAMA, the Saudi Arabian Monetary Authority, they've worked with Ripple in the past. They said that they didn't even need to do a sandbox environment because everything that RippleNet was doing was already compliant. I know I uploaded that video a couple years ago. We can see that SAMA, one of the very open-minded nations in terms of progressive adoption of crypto, tokenization, and Web3 use cases, expects 70% of all payments to be digital by 2025. And we're aware of Project Aber. Project Aber, the Saudi central bank, or SAMA, and the Central Bank of the UAE had a joint digital currency and distributed ledger project. And SAMA, or the Central Bank of Saudi Arabia, has been a RippleNet user for years, literally. We had a big partnership announcement with the HBAR Foundation and HealthReady. So HealthReady optimizes healthcare data with Hedera to resolve clinical research bottlenecks. So blockchain specifically is some of the best copy protection technology that exists. Healthcare data is considered up to 50 times more valuable than financial data. It's important this data is high quality, within the control of the individual patient or owner, and easily and securely distributed for research. So the benefit of Web3 is we're actually going to own our data, and you can maybe even make money owning your own data rather than allowing Google or Meta to exploit your data and make money. So they're leveraging Hedera's Consensus Service, or HCS. HealthReady enables the verification of patient consent to access healthcare data and patient-reported outcome verification and authenticity. Using the Hedera Token Service, or HTS, HealthReady also has the HR token for incentivizing patient engagement. So Web3 enabling users to control their healthcare data and opt in to participate in clinical trials, increasing both the diversity and size of the pooled data, in turn increasing overall quality of the data, making it more valuable, making it more accurate. So the benefits of leveraging Hedera is you can protect from fraud mitigation. You have an audit trail of everything timestamped. You protect your data, you can save money, increase efficiency, and increase the quality of your data and make even more money. So Hedera for facilitating token incentivization, healthcare data integrity, and real-time reporting. We're going to see thousands of more use cases just like this by organizations all around the world. And for Casper, we recently just had the Casper 1.5 upgrade. We are one step closer to Casper 2.0. The big improvements include fast sync nodes. You can redelegate directly without unbonding. So if you are currently delegating to some validator to earn staking rewards over 10% APY, which auto compound, and you decide to move to another validator that might have lower fees, you can directly redelegate to another one without having to do or wait for that unbonding period. Multi-signature and role-based security enablement. So Casper's account permissioning and contract permissioning is levels in years, maybe even a decade ahead of Ethereum. That's key for enterprise adoption. We have a new speculative execution endpoint and enhanced smart contract security. Casper staking is over 10.7%, with 74% of the total supply being staked. You can see these metrics live at CSPR.live. We can see the circulating supply, the APY, and the total stake bonded, with 74% of the total supply used to validate and secure transactions. If the amount staked fell all the way down to 50%, which I don't see happening, the staking APY or rewards would actually increase to roughly 16% per the equation. If the total stake bonded grew to 90%, showing tons of trust in the network, the staking APY would decrease to about 8.8%. No matter how you look at it, the staking rewards are likely to be 8 to 16% for the coming years. And that's nearly 2, 3, even 4 times higher than other chains. HBAR's is down to 2.5%. Casper's is over 4 times higher in staking rewards. And here's the calculation that determines the Casper staking rewards. The APY equals the total Casper supply divided by the total Casper stake bonded. Once you get that number, you multiply it by 0.08. And just looking at the Casper price chart, when Casper goes up in price, the retail community will grow just like it always did. The DAG community was small. It did a 70x in a bull run, it exploded. Hedera's community was relatively small before it did a 60x from its all-time low. Algo's community was pretty small until it did a 25x from its all-time low. And Casper has never experienced a bull run born at the peak of the bear market. So I'm very excited to see what the Casper price chart can do in future bull runs. And last but not least, by Roth Economist. So the biggest thing we have is standard custody and trust company. We've talked about PolySign and standard custody. And we know the creator of the XRP ledger, Arthur Brito, along with David Schwartz, the CTO of Ripple, sit on the board of PolySign. Poly meaning multiple, sign for signature, so multi-sig. For institutional crypto infrastructure, for transactions, custody, escrow, etc. Standard Custody and GSR have joined forces to introduce innovative escrow solutions in digital assets. The escrow feature is going to be huge for enterprise applications, reducing counterparty risk and further elevating standards for reliability and efficiency. So Standard Custody, PolySign, they have their ties with Ripple, the company, and the XRP ledger. GSR as well, now recently partnering with Standard Custody, is a large player. And Ripple has used them to sell XRP before, noted in the case and in press. As you can see right there with GSR to buy XRP. If you enjoyed this video, I'd greatly appreciate if you could hit the like button, let me know your thoughts down below, and my link tree is linked in the top of this YouTube video description, with all links, crypto resources, and discounts. I'll catch you in the next one.